Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dinda Mahar Ramadhani, an undergraduate student from English Department, Bina, Nusantara University. Today, I'm going to present an article that I co-wrote with other researchers, Irfan and Rifai. This article mainly discusses about bodily activity in reading and how that supports reading activity. For years, reading began as a pure mental act. However, there are currently researchers who explored reading as embodied as bodily activity. For instance, McLaughlin in his book stated that humans' ability to interpreting is actually part of body work. And a recent study on reading aloud at home that conducted by Hawkstorm found that children often mimic their caregiver during reading aloud sessions, which she claimed as indications of participation as well as comprehensions. Those arguments and findings intrigued me to explore more on bodily activity in reading. And then on the process of my observations in my research that initially focused on meaning making and knowledge constructing, I found that my participants often varying their postures and displaying gestures, which make me more interested in bodily activity in reading and decided to write this article. So this study used McLaughlin's book Reading and the Body as its theoretical framework. Like he said on his book, reading is not only a mental act, but also a physical act. So our body doing its job to support reading, namely eyes scanning the text to comprehend them, our hand gripping the book, trying to feel the textures, and then our body adjusting to the environment where the reading inhabit. So in his book, McLaughlin mentions several movements, but we are more focused on posture here. So there are three elements of posture. First is the grip. So the grip is the works of the hands and fingers. It is a physical manifestations of reader and the book. And then support structure. It is the work of the arms, shoulders, and the hands to hold the book in the positions that is necessary for the eye. And then lastly, we have pose. It is the works of muscle in our body to maintain grip and support structures. And the key of successful posture or successful pose, like McLaughlin said, is to hold them for a long time in the stimulus required by the eye. And then we have 5 material factors influencing the adaptations, which are the size and the weight of the book, physical strain, available light, visual acuity, and furniture. And then in this study, I used field observation to collect my data. I observed non-English speaking family with the mother Amara and her 8-year-old son June as my participant. I recorded their reading aloud sessions for 10 times, and then I took notes on some significant parts, and then I analyzed the video. First, I transcribed them, and then I analyzed the bodily activity appeared in the video. Lastly, I interpret them using McLaughlin's book Reading and the Body as reference. And then from the analysis, I got my results, which are evidence of reading as bodily activity, interpretations of Amar and June bodily activities, and benefit of bodily activities and reading. From 10 reading aloud sessions, I found that June and Amara often displaying relaxed postures during their reading, and from those postures I generalized them into 2. So the first one is on the left and the second one is side by side. Before continuing to descriptions and interpretations of pose 1, I'm going to say sorry for the blurry pictures. For the sake of my participant privacy, I need to blur their face. Continue to descriptions and interpretations of pose 1. So on number 1, we can see that June sat on Amara's left side and his body slightly leaned on Amara. But if you look carefully, he also leaned forward slightly and focused to the text. This indicates his connectedness to the book. And then number 2, we can see Amara's left hand on June's wrist. and her thumb slightly touching the book. It is hers. It is what McLaughlin said as support structure. So her hand helped June to grip the book. And then number 2, we can see June's left hand grip the side of the book. So it is to aid visibility, and it indicates his connections with the book. And then we can see at number 4, Amara index finger actively pointing on words and object in the book, and she did it to direct June's gaze on the book, as well as emphasizing the word and sound. And this works of her finger. It helps June to recall his prior knowledge and doing the mimicry, which Hagstrom's claim as indication of participations and engagement. And then number 5, we can see Amara's body lean back to the wall. It is her way to support her body as well as June. And then on pose 2, we can see June sit on Amara's lap. His body fully leaned to Amara. And consequently, we can see that Amara on number 6 display a straight posture to fully support June's body weight. And then number 2 and 3, we can see here June support structures. He tried to grip the book and adjust them so both Amara and June can see the tablet clearly. And his leg make a triangle shape there to support the weight of the tablet, and his hand grip the tablet tightly. Number 4, we can see Amara's hand laid freely next to June. Sometimes she caresses his hair or his skin to add intimacy to their reading aloud sessions. And then lastly, we can see Amara sitting in a cross-like positions, her legs wide open so June can sit comfortably between them. Next, I want to show you posture adaptations to the material. Here we can see Amara and June displaying an intense nearsightedness due to the size of the book. They both grip the book tightly and move it closer to their eyes. This indicates steadiness as well as observant as well as cognitive process. And this indicates their engagement to the book. And then lastly, I want to tell you about Jun's engagement. So here we can see in the picture Jun whispering to Amara. And there he trying to say personal story about Batik Fish, which is the main character in the book that they were reading. There, Jun tried to connect his prior knowledge with the book, which show his engagement to the book. And Amara told her heart to listen to Jun's story carefully, and that indicates their interactions and engagement. So it's not only readers to the book, but also readers to readers. And then lastly, Jun's use of finger and body movement. Though I'm not inserting the picture here, but Jun often uses his finger to point some interesting objects. And then after that, asked Amara about the explanations. And then he often showed body movement like scratching his nose and scratching his head, with indicating a focus and engagement to the book. And in the previous pictures, we can also see his grip, his superstructures, and his pose adjusting to the book. So, in conclusions, like McLaughlin said, reading is not only a matter of mental act, but also a physical act. And in this study, the movement that Jun and Amara showed exemplified the bodily activity that promotes intimacy, engagement, as well as interactions of the reader. And with all of this, it wraps my presentations. Thank you very much.